You guys have met Jen before.
Yeah.
Jen could send when she thought something.
Amazing. Just kidding.
Did I miss that class?
I think you were on Zoom.
Huh.
Well,
You guys are gonna have to type in the chat, to talk to us online, because I, once again, not get this.
have you guys been doing more social media?
Since her class, have you guys posted her on social media?
No,
Not-
but I was gonna question you. I took some pictures. I know your photographer took some pictures. I took some pictures too that have a little bit different perspective.
On that listing?
Yeah, I'll send them to you and you can look at them. I think like the solar tubes in the bathroom are an amazing attribute to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, I get that. It just, depends on what the buyer's looking for.
Well, and it's tricky if you
Yeah.
take, so if you take pictures, if you go to a listing, even if you're doing an open house for somebody or something, and you take pictures that aren't the pictures that the photographer paid for, that the sellers approved, you can't post those online because you don't have the seller's permission. Because I've had sellers that had show horses in their barns and they lost it when someone came through and posted a picture of their show horses in their barns. Like you have to keep, and the agent just thought, oh my gosh, a cool barn, and it wasn't in any of the pictures. It's because
Right.
we couldn't. Her horses were so expensive and so valuable,
Right.
he wasn't gonna risk showing the world those
Right.
horses. So I mean, and solar tubes aren't the same, but just in general, like, I've seen agents get fined for posting.
So
pictures
I'm
that sellers didn't have
and
permission.
if you like them, ask them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's good to know. I didn't know that.
Thank
We
you.
got a printed guide for you, facilitator guide. You wanna use it?
Well, I keep looking at my phone, but
I'll put this here and then if you want to, it's pretty hard to get pages.
when I can't stand for very long, or you guys are gonna see me pass out. No, oh, I thought it was an accident. I have a brain injury. Let's do this. I can't stand straight or I start wobbling. I have an equilibrium problem now. Oh. Look at this. No, it's a brain injury, like flat out, it's a brain injury. So there's
Called TBI, right?
yeah, I have a spot on my brain that will never. Ever, it's basically
Auto
baby syndrome. When brain went forward and back and then. That's what we get.
Is it an auto accident?
It was in. UTV. It was like. UTV, side by side.
Oh,
At least you're having fun.
until it changed your life.
It was 3 years ago and I still have this problem. My neurologist was helping me with it last week and he said, "We're just gonna need a pill that maybe so you don't. Like, goes sideways." Well, what he said was, we joke around that, I wiggle and I wobble, but I don't fall down most days. Sometimes I do. So anyway, we're gonna talk about, getting to the close. Do you guys have closing yet, or no, not yet? Yeah. Good. Yeah, that's awesome.
A long way left. I will. Let's go.
And that was your first one? 62?
Oh,
Okay. So, well, that's so good. Still good. Let's see, you guys have been through most of the contracts, buyer and seller and all that stuff. Mostly, except we're getting to the close.
Maybe not the contract, but the process.
Okay.
They've gone through that process through Ignite.
Right, and then Sean usually goes through the,
Contracts fast. And he has one. I have the date.
next week. I think.
And we moved the time. We just had to move the time. But he has one next.
Thursday.
Just because we were talking about. contracts. Yes, next Thursday, well, the 20th. Yep, so next Thursday and we had to move the time. It's gonna be from 2 to 3. Here. And I think him and Russie are gonna teach it together, which is a really good class.
yeah,
If you can come, and it'll be on Zoom.
that's what's next Thursday, right?
Mhm.
Um, And contracts change all the time, so. And then in a year, if he does another class, try to stop by,
We're trying to do them almost monthly right now.
what date will that be?
It's Thursday, the July 20th. From 2 to 3 p.m.
So,
I'm gonna put up at the mouse. If you click on the mouse.
okay, so this is just the overview, like, real estate experts. Just kind of the career.
It's just like where we've been.
Yeah, where you've been and then where we're gonna go as a transaction, like, you guys have went through most of the transaction, I guess, already, so this is final night, right?
Mhm.
I think.
Not a test, right?
Oh, yeah, there is.
It's called your career.
It's called the life, yep.
Good luck. So then timelines, referrals, post close, and then we have daily success system. Have you guys been working on that?
We have, I haven't been holding them accountable to that,
For that?
but it's the 10 conversations a day. 555, I think they call it something else. 5 on their social media.
So 4.
It's like 151 or something. 1051
10 comments.
or 10 likes, 5
5
comments.
comments with 5 words or more, and then 1 like instant or DM or. Every day.
Oh, yeah, 10
Well, and then, so that's your daily social media stuff, but we also have like the thank you cards and all that.
Mhm. Yep, there's right a couple thank you cards on there. It's been at the end of every chapter.
Cool. Perfect. How do you guys feel like it's going so far? A lot of information, huh?
I think it's going good. I have 3 potential buyers to probably actually reaching out to people.
Yeah.
Weird how that works.
Right. One trick that I've seen too, like if you see a house, and you're like, oh, this would be perfect for so and so. Send it to them. Hey, I saw this house and I know that you have one, but this one's so cute and it reminds me of you. And pretty soon, oh, we're actually thinking about selling. Then it's like sparks those conversations, or even if you have a listing, you can send it to 5 friends and say, hey, I just got this new listing. You send it out to 5 of your friends to see if they know anybody that's buying or selling, or if they're interested in the neighborhood. If you want to get everybody involved. Real estate transactions are particularly trouble free. I wish. There's always something that comes up, but how you handle it is like key, right? I've seen some real estate agents melt. So just try not to melt. Hold your breath for 5 seconds and then move forward. But anyway, well, this is a millionaire real estate. I think it's reading it. I think it's good.
Have you guys read that Millionaire Real Estate Agent?
I try to read like.
I have it on audio.
I think we should get a group doing it every year.
And we did Millionaire Mondays for a while, and Ken was doing his book club like that, and it was really good. And when we were all reading Millionaire Mondays. I mean, we had like 11 people consistently every week for that, and he was gonna do a new book, but you know.
How did that work?
So we would just have certain pages or chapters, sections of the book. It's not really in chapters, but sections of the book to read each week. And then each week we came back and he had a presentation on them, and then we would talk about how, what real life incorporation looks like.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Because on audio, I bet that's a little hard
Not
to like incorporate stuff into what they're saying.
No, I'm not a big reader. I can read, but I don't have the patience to
Well, they
take in
have
information.
a copy of the book here, so if you wanted to do audio and video.
You
Oh, I
should
have
have
a book in
I have,
your
I have two,
packet.
as a matter of fact, somebody gave me one previously and I received one. when I first started.
And then there's one in there with your cards. You can pick up your cards.
Okay. Well, oh, here we go again.
It's because I came and touched the mouse.
That's the wrong way. So they
Back
did,
and forth.
well, it's timelines, it's the same thing, this is today's agenda. Timeline, we're just gonna go through the slides. We don't want to do any breakout, right? We're not gonna worry about that. Anyway,
So you guys are putting all the dates in your calendar. One of the biggest things we track is the contract dates,
oh,
right?
yeah, so
That's
when
what
you
this is
get
talking
under
about.
contract, you're gonna use it as CC, what, I make my CC send me the dates for everything.
If your TC is not sending you a calendar, I'm like, can you TC? To the date.
Like, send me, what they do, they send me calendar invites on every single thing that we have to do for the contract. Cause the main one is inspection and financing and appraisal. Financing and appraisal is basically your job. That's when you lose earnest money and that's when your buyers get their needs. Make sure that the whole know what they. So inspection period, closing, all of it. Who's involved in your transactions, you usually have title company, lenders. TC if you have a TC. Inspection company, whatever, you have inspection company. Lender, the title company is probably the biggest one. And when I go under contract, I send an email to everyone. Well, in the. So if I have the buyer, then I'll email the lender. My TC, title. If I already know the title company for the seller, I'll put that in there. If I don't, then I'll leave it blank. And. Okay. It's great. I've got a migraine, so this is what's gonna happen the whole time. Anyway, so I email everyone, so everyone's on the same page. And that listing agent is on there as well. If it's co-listing agent, email them both. But I have it laid out. Here's the earnest money, here's the contract, here's everything that's involved, like earnest money. How much earnest money is, if there's down payment, how much the down payment is. I want everyone on the same page. And usually, if you don't know who the title company is for the seller side or buyer side or the opposite side, then the other agent will reply out and say who the
Will each, the buyer and the seller, have their own title company, and which one is
usually
really?
unless it's cash.
And I know I've heard how it works before, but quickly tell me,
For title,
yeah,
what
if both have a different company,
So there's two title insurance policies that are sold throughout a real estate transaction. The first, the title insurance that the seller is buying for the buyer is to guarantee them free and clear title. So that title company is gonna issue that insurance policy.
Okay.
A buyer's title company is gonna issue a title insurance policy that guarantees the lender first right of refusal, or first lien holder position, I mean. So that's where there's two insurance policies sold. There's not a lender's policy sold in a cash deal, so the cash deal has to close at the same one as the seller.
Okay.
Does
Thank
that
you.
make sense? And they can close at the same one. It's just not super common.
Okay.
I find each agent finds an escrow officer they prefer.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so, and then unless it's cash, if it's cash, then there's only one title company. And it's usually the seller gets to pay, but if you're the buyer, then put that in your contract.
The buyer can pick the title company.
That they're gonna, or you don't, or I don't say it like that, if they were using.
Oh, yeah.
title company. And so then, they don't usually care.
Lock it down.
I don't know why they don't let the buyer pick.
Well, it's because there's no money in it. So a lot of title companies will courtesy close you, but they're not making, the title company's not making any money off of the crap. The buyer's title company will not make any money off the cash transaction. Because there's no insurance policy to be sold. That,
So we just. Here we go.
and then vendors and.
Yeah, you do have vendors. We like. Talked to a couple of people around in the office about. Which inspection companies they like, and then also which home warranty. Not all of them. are really equal.
My impression is that. We should always have cards handy and allow them 3 individual choices. The buyer, the person who's in charge.
Yeah. So I don't have cards, I have a note on my phone, and I just copy and paste it and send it to them.
Oh.
And then most of the time they say, I don't care, who do you like?
Okay.
So, whoever you have a good relationships with,
Mhm.
there's a lot of great ones out there. And
I don't have cards either. I just have it an email. Go out, let me pick.
well, and
Usually they just want you to pick, so
Right. they're just like, especially new buyers that I've
they're
never
feeling
done.
overwhelmed. Decision fatigue.
So there's a lot to go into that. That's what I was gonna say.
And our vendors are involved in the transaction, like. Sometimes you have to get a roofer involved or.
Yeah, because sometimes you need a certification on the roof, so you need to definitely like have a. It can do certification. Also on VA loans, you have to have pest inspection. So if your inspector doesn't do pest inspection, you have to find a pest company that will do it.
I would say call Rusty and ask her what she or somebody like Alex.
Well, you can
What's
ask
the
in
best that you
the,
know, and then you'll
in the
like figure
group
it out.
too. You can ask in the Facebook group.
That's a great, yeah. Anybody know a good electrician? Anybody? Yeah. Good. You don't really need to research. I always just go off with somebody to trust.
Yeah, there's a lot of great people. Word.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing my buyer needs, what the buyers need to know and do, what do I need to do, need to know and do, what does the rest of the team need to know to get on and when. What am I doing at this point, bullet point transactions that I thought when buyers are successfully closed. You is a transaction coordinator, right? No? You
I
didn't
know
have a
everybody's
grade?
not figured out. I'm gonna try anyone out. I've not had great luck with them, with TCs, but I do use the checklist and opportunities. So you can create a checklist or opportunities so that you can have a full checklist of what to do.
So typically, like, my TC just says, Jen, we need this, and then I go do it. So it's not like, hey, let's huddle up and see what everybody needs to do.
Right.
So basically, once you get under contract, the next thing would be your seller's disclosures, and then the next thing would be home inspection, but you can do those simultaneously, so you can request the disclosures, and then also schedule your home inspection. Try to get your disclosures before the home inspection, figure out what the buyer side, especially so you know, they are replacing this. Did replace, let's make sure that it was replaced.
How about appraisers? At what point?
We
do they
don't
come in?
call appraisals at all.
The lenders order the prison.
Oh, okay.
And if it's a cash transaction, I've got it, like, it's the same. You get multiple and let the buyer. If the buyer wants to get an appraisal and it's cash, they can. I try to stay out of it. What do you recommend?
The same. Yep. It's, and I actually try to get people. Appraisers are just an opinion and value at a moment of time. one person's opinion about you in a moment in time. So I just try to let them know that too.
That's what I was gonna say, an inspection, try to educate your buyers on inspectors. In the state of Utah, inspectors are not regulated. No.
There's no
certification,
licensing requirements.
Nothing. So.
So we're all home inspectors, all of us in this room
Yeah.
right now.
So
But
if an
we
inspector-
cannot make statements because we're not.
You can,
If you
there's
notice
no
something wrong.
regulation on home inspections in Utah.
So if an
At all.
inspector says there's mold, it's until you get it tested, you can't say it's mold. I don't know, but I try to educate my buyers because you'll have buyers melt down. They said there's 50 things wrong with the house. Yeah, because that's their job security is to say there's something wrong with the house. And they don't know what the codes are, or what's supposed to be happening, and that house is coded for when it was built.
I didn't realize that.
So most, not, I don't even know about most, but the home inspectors that come into this office and market, they are all Oshi and Nashi, right? Oshi and Nashi certified, which is a national certification thing, but in the state of Utah doesn't have any regulations on inspectors.
So anybody can just.
Mhm.
I imagine though, that there are some pretty decent, skilled.
There is, and there's a lot of people, a lot of inspectors that take.
Mhm.
That's why I said, not up here, equally,
Yeah.
good ones. Great ones, so just do your due diligence too,
Mhm.
like educate your client and just tell them if they're not certified, they're not licensed. They are, so some are certified, they're just not licensed. They're not required to have the certification. It's not like a
But-
contractor.
But they are expected to have the inspection done. Are
Mhm.
people, is that
You
a,
can waive your inspection if you don't want.
If one of my clients is waiving an inspection, I send another email that says, I'm just confirming, are you sure you don't want an inspection? So that it's like double confirmed. Cause
to
if they,
everybody?
well, just to the buyer
Oh.
and me, because if they refuse an inspection and there's something terribly wrong with the house, I just want it, I don't want them to say I recommended them not get an inspection.
Right.
Even when everybody was going crazy in the last couple of years and waiving the inspection, I would tell them, if you want to waive the inspection, that's great, but I personally would do it for a record for yourself. So that you know what's going on. with the house.
Even if you're gonna buy the house, no matter what the inspection says, still get one.
It's what, $500, $600,
Mhm.
depending on who you get. But that little bit of peace of mind goes a long way.
And the buyer pays for that.
Anyway. You guys have any questions?
I have a question off topic, but
Okay.
I'll wait.
You can ask.
So I don't know, I just popped into my head. So when you post on social, I'm so sorry, guys. When you do a reel, do you also post to your story? Boom, boom.
I try to.
That's sorry.
That's the goal. So we kind of already went through this inspector. Specialist to buyer, they pick the inspector, earnest money. But again, so you got three things going on. Earnest money needs to be brought to KW or title, whatever you guys have decided. Or do it through the earnest app. Super easy. Get an inspection, build and then, and also, so. Two big, three things right out the gate. Oh, listing agent, I'm like, listing agent. So some inspectors will want to call the listing agent themselves. You can also tell that listing agent, hey. Our inspection is scheduled for this day, is that okay? I'd like to do it this day, is that gonna work for your sellers? Always communicate with the listing agent if you're on the buy side. Contract is accepted and then you just kind of go. Like, you guys got your checklist and stuff, so that just go over the checklist. keep it somewhere that you're gonna see it all the time. Especially when you go under contract.
Memorize it.
So when I go under contract, I usually let the lender know to order that appraisal, because I've gotten to the point where like on the last one, they didn't order it for 3 weeks, almost 3 weeks into it. So we're supposed to already have it done. So we're having to go down to send out stuff, but you get it scheduled right when you want the contract, and you don't want to really worry about it. And the buyers don't freak out, oh, you want another $600? Well, that's $600 still,
Yeah, for an appraisal.
so they have to pay for an inspection, an appraisal, earnest money. An inspection, they have the option of doing radon, meth test, and mold. There's another one though. So, meth, radon, mold, and that stuff. That, your inspection, you know, 700-800 bucks, but. That again, it's piece of money.
Well, and you're making a $500,000 purchase.
And they also do, they'll sometimes do the scopes of the pipes, like the plumbing. I wish I would have done that when I bought mine.
Especially if you have big trees in the front yard, I recommend.
Do
Yeah,
that
you
super
do.
slow.
And I was like, no, I'm not gonna pay another $180.
Is that what they quoted you?
This was 5, 6 years ago, just on top of
They,
extra.
I use one company, Royal Flush.
Royal flush for the sewer scopes.
Yeah, it's like $60.
Oh, I don't know. It was like 180 and
Was it recently?
Like 8 months ago.
I'll use them next time. I try to get people to check that.
Well, they come to your house and they do the, they
I
just do
know,
it there.
cause I need that done, so.
I don't know where their office is.
They probably work in trucks.
Yeah. I've had them work from Bergen City to Bountiful, like,
Gravel, like
Yeah.
every other.
Cause when they replaced all the piping in our street, we were told, yeah. A potential root problem.
I would call, see, call a couple different companies.
Cause those sewer line replacements are like, can be like 20 grand. For those root problems, so you, on buyer's inspections.
I don't think it's covered under homeowner.
It's not in home warranty either, but floods and basement.
Yeah, so that $60 or 180 is worth
And
it.
that happened to me. They didn't get it on one of my buyers, and like a week within they bought it, the basement was flooded. They called me freaking out. And like, shoot, I guess I should have offered I don't know if I offered it or not, but they were mad. And it was like 17 grand.
Mhm.
And it was like a week after they just bought it. So I always find that I should offer it, because it
There's-
makes you look
There's
stupid.
nothing that you can really, like, it's hard. I had a lady, like, we had a horrible winter, and one of my buyers in Fremont, and she called me, she's like, my basement flooded. I'm like, everybody, it's flooded. Dang it. I'm gonna need help, but I'll help you with whatever, but. Like, it's same thing, it's hard.
Cover your tracks, at least you offered.
Yeah, you tried, especially if there's trees in the front yard.
And an older house too. They were both older.
Right,
We got some movement up
I
there.
know.
Someone's walking around. Are they in here?
He, I don't know where he's at.
Maybe that's all. So, I guess common interactions, communicate with everybody. Like, listing agent, like, if something's going on with your buyer, communicate. Like, we don't tell them everything, just. Like, we just had a closing, and it was not on my buyers at all. The lender, took forever in the funding, so into the next day. So if I didn't communicate to the listing agent, like, dude, it's not on my buyer, they've done everything, it's whatever. We're
Well,
waiting
the
on-
system went down. Is that what happened to you?
I think
The whole lending system went down. That never happens, but no lenders could fund over the holiday weekend, right?
No, it was yesterday,
Oh,
we closed yesterday, and we fun. They were actually emailing the title company. Title company wasn't getting the emails, so they sent it to the lender, loan officer. Loan officer emailed it. The lender couldn't email it to the title company. So it was just a match, and then we couldn't fund today. Like telling them, lending, but litigated. It's not my buyers, I promise. So just communicate, even if it's bad and stuff like that, where there's nothing we can do on our hands. Just tell them. If you communicate, they'll have more respect for you than if you don't communicate. But, hey, what's going on? Just a little bit of communication, and lender and the buyer need to communicate as well, but try to. You communicate with the lender as well. You don't need to know all the details. It is, hey, how are we doing? What are the checkpoints? Are we on track? Do I need to follow up with the buyers if they need to send something to you? But just make sure that you communicate with them as well. And then like scheduling, schedule those communications too. So if you're gonna have somebody come to the house, always communicate that with the listing agent or ask the listing agent what's going on. Not ask them, but tell them. Ask, hey, can we come over at this time between 5 and 6 for the pest inspection? Whatever you need, just make sure that every time that you're on it, you're telling the listing agent what's going on.
The VA lending. You must do the pest inspection,
They require,
but not FHA or. It's interesting.
it's not required on FHA. conventional. Oh, document points, is this an active communication or a document? For which is the document going to, what is the best pathway to communicating, sending the document? If you do send something through DocuSign, just let your buyers know, like, hey, I'm sending this document through DocuSign. Even if you see, we'll typically text you or email you and say, hey, I just sent the buyers whatever document, and then I just, that's what I do this, and then my buyers will text or call them, and they just send some documents. So just make sure that everybody's in the loop. And then what is the plan for follow-up after the document has been sent to the responsible party? Sometimes
If you have a TC, they're gonna follow up.
they're gonna
That could be
follow
the
up
plan.
for one, and two, sometimes the other agents are slower. Especially like if you're dealing with like a trust or somebody that just passed away in the state. Because they have multiple people that they have to have signed. Like, if there's 4 people that's on the state, they have to sign. Just keep in mind, but just make sure that anybody that has documents out there. And then if there is some template for emails and stuff that Keller has. So if you need a template or something for email communication, let everybody know and we'll find it. Right? Oh, that's- Just go for this.
I think we did.
Well, this one.
And then we were on that one. It's going back, right? Go back to the other way. Okay, now it's doing the same thing but on sellers.
Yeah, that's the one that was the same, like. Me off. Seller's transaction. On the seller side, on the seller's transaction, usually, they don't have as much to do as like the buyers have to do. Sometimes the buyers will ask the sellers to get like, a roof certification. Buyers can do it, and so can the sellers. If the seller has had their roof replaced recently, like within, let's say, 2 years, then they can usually give you all the information about who replaced the roof. And exactly. And that's typically on the disclosure. So make sure that you're looking at when the roof was replaced. Or if the sewer was sewer line to replace. What else do you look at? On older houses, you want no electrical. If electrical's been updated.
Like what else on the seller disclosures?
Well, right, that you would help the seller follow up with.
Like HOA docs
Oh,
too.
yeah, you did do the HOA doc. Usually if you're gonna list. One thing I can list, you have is.
The HOA docs.
We do it on the. There's not really a ton.
To help your seller sell the home. If you wanted to do like listing coverage on the home warranty.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do some warranty company that offered listing coverage. You could do
Those
that.
are free.
Yeah, listing coverage is usually free. Or if you're gonna have a TC involved in the transaction. It's kind of similar to a buyer, and then you're gonna need your vendors if anything comes up on an inspection. And you wanna get it rechecked, like if the buyers say, oh my gosh, the electrical is terrible, then you probably want to have your own electrician come in and. I'll just take their word for it all the time.
Yep.
But also don't overcomplicate the transaction if they're asking for $500. Is it really worth you paying 400 for
Yeah.
an electrician to come in?
Gonna get it. So then, what's the first thing my seller needs? Is it before the transaction's gone?
I think just during the transaction, because what am I doing to bullet? Or what part are you at? What am I?
Like, it says, what's the first thing my seller need, what does the seller need to do? Need to
No,
know
I-
and do. I mean, like, we just need to communicate with the sellers on if there's gonna be an inspection and who's gonna be at the house. And when.
And what each document means that they're signing.
Yeah.
When the photographer's gonna be there. I mean, it's just total. What other things do you think you would need to communicate with the seller? Can you guys think of anything? When you bought or sold, what was communicated with you?
Like before you list or. during?
Or during any of it? I think any of it.
Keep their house clean. They, know they're gonna be gone certain times of day.
Yeah, leave for showings is a good one.
Well, and also make sure that they're aware of how, whatever, showing system you're using, if you're using a line, you need to like educate them on how to approve or deny a showing. I always tell my sellers, don't deny a showing until we've talked. If you're gonna deny it, I need to know why and when we can reschedule.
Because the minute it gets denied, that agent's gonna call you. Why'd you?
Yeah. So you wanna make sure that you're aware of what's going on, but make sure that they know how to use that system and what your expectations of them.
So the showing. Is communicated to the seller first.
Well, so I add them to the Align app, so it goes to me and the seller.
Okay.
So either one of us can approve it. If it goes through and the seller hasn't approved it for even like 15 minutes, and then I'll like. Somewhere call them, hey, did you see that? Showing come through, what questions do you have, is that gonna work for you? And then they'll like, yeah, it works, great, and I'll say, okay, I'll get it approved. But I feel like it helps them know when the showings are for one, and it gives them a little bit of power.
Yes.
So I try to get them involved as much as possible on that side. Oh, and then on the seller side, just make sure that if you're using, well, on either side, just make sure that they both know if you're using a TC. They're gonna get stuff from you and the TC. But they're aware. Keep watching their email.
And I just let them know the TC is part of my team, like, because I have used TCs in the past. Like the TC is just that's just part of my team. That's like one of the services I offer is someone double checking our paperwork and.
Yeah, and make sure that that's one thing that I tell them too, like, there's so much paperwork and everybody gets along. I don't wanna miss anything, so I have these guys checking to make sure everything's done. Because I don't want somebody to come back 5 years down the road saying that we didn't do that. For your protection home inspection.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we didn't send that document, or we didn't sign something and they come back on you 5 years later, so. Just keep things in mind. Say. I just try to make everything. seamless as possible so that, you know, buyers and sellers. Sometimes they're like baby deer. And I can do the play. Sometimes they run and they want to run. I had a buyer a couple weeks ago and he texted me and said, just cancel everything, I'm done. I told him, okay, you just need a day. Yes, give me a day. Okay, let's talk tomorrow. The next day, everything's fine. Move forward.
But she could have gone in the weeds with him
Oh,
and she could have been like, oh my gosh, I know, or what, you could have gone any type of way and helped it blow up, but instead she was like, what do you need? Just a
Yeah.
day, like, let's talk
Sometimes-
tomorrow and then.
Sometimes you have to just email it. It was
Mhm.
with it's a boyfriend and girlfriend buying a house together. They broke up. He was breaking out about that. I don't wanna get into their relationship. It sounds awful, but it does. It is, you know. How about we just take a deep breath and we'll talk tomorrow? You guys figure this stuff out. Buying and selling a house is probably one of the first things you'll ever do.
And boyfriend and girlfriend.
They've been together for 4 years, so I'm thinking they're gonna really break up. Happen.
People find
Right. When you get your real estate agent involved. Fighting. So. Okay. Communicate the deadline contract. The other party to get split the, like when the contract is already with them through most of the stuff.
It's very similar from the buyers and sellers. Yeah.
Title company, just communicate with the title company, if you get an addendum or need an addendum for an extension or whatever, you have to send every single thing to the title company. Get an addendum signed, what's that one? Mandatory clause,
Oh, the FHA mandatory clause.
Yeah.
Yep.
so you have to make sure that you send it to the title company, everything goes to the title. And communicate that. They'll tell you, like, hey, we haven't seen this in the clause yet. Where is it? We're just gonna sign it at closing. Okay, great. I don't know, do you do this when the inspections for a buyer? Do you send an addendum with what you want fixed, or do you?
No,
keep
I
that?
negotiate outside of the contract.
Me too.
Because if you don't, and I think we talked about this in the third night, but if you negotiate in the contract, the underwriter sees all of that.
And FHA is bad.
Strict.
And they'll make you get everything, take pictures of every single thing that
Mhm.
you're requesting to be fixed. And send it to the underwriter. But try to keep it outside, communicate it in writing,
Might get through an email back and
but
forth
don't
or
put it
text.
on
back
an
and forth.
addendum. It'll just slow up your process, like more than you really want to. Schedule communicate with inspectors, buyers agents, like all this stuff we went over and talked to them about. I think it was the wrong way. Okay, and then active communication document, make sure you know how you communicate. If you're gonna communicate text, it's still in writing. In email, just try to make sure that you got everything in writing. Come back later. Go through it. I'm gonna try not to delete my.
And then do you print everything that you texted
I don't.
for backup?
No, but if you go through my phone right now, I've got things in here from like, probably 2017. I did those back.
I had a transaction close and I had a bunch of text messages in my phone. And then that buyer agent tried to tell us we didn't replace the roof when we did, and it was just messy. So I did like screenshot all of those text messages and save them in a Google Drive folder. So that if my phone deleted them, I would still have them, just for that. Nothing ever ended up coming of that because we were not wrong. we did replace the roof, but I just did save them for that. But I don't ever print them or anything.
Well, and you're gonna know when you're in a transaction, whether you're gonna need to stay at home or not. You're gonna know,
Mhm.
but. And then. What is the best pathway for communicating, sending documents? What do you guys think? How do you guys feel is the best way that you guys are communicating?
So if you sent a document for someone to sign. Right, that's what we're doing, sending the document, then we're doing number 3.
Yeah, or just, how do you guys like to communicate? Email, text, phone calls?
Texting over or communication overall.
Yeah. Like, what's your biggest thing?
Texting, sending things would be more email, I think, or DocuSign.
Well, I mean, so, like, my form, probably already know this, but my form of communication is text. I'll text everybody, but we'll pick up the phone call. And it's just habit. I can,
Yeah.
I can have a 5-second text thing go through or a 20-minute conversation.
I prefer phone, but
Yeah.
it's in my school.
And that's okay, but you can still do phone.
Oh, text is so much better.
It's easier because you don't.
Especially, but you gotta.
I just said, you can text like 50 people in one night,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like, they can get back to you when they feel like it. They can call you if they'd rather, but it's really, just most people,
I have.
Usually I'll.
It's more of a
Leave it
preference
into
for
it.
them.
Right.
Yeah.
well, I think that most people are doing that now.
Yeah, it's kind of expected. I had a seller that I would prefer to text her, but
Yeah.
as I got on the phone, I was like, I'm thinking I don't have time.
She preferred the phone call, that's why she can do it an hour and a half.
So the only thing is they're both divorced and then she just wanted to talk about her ex. And
Is it like a friend of yours? I'll talk to the friends.
oh, I will do, and I've gotten to know her quite a bit, so it's been great, but it's hard.
Well, so there's initially a call usually, but like usually I get a couple of texts back and forth leads to a call.
Yeah, and I'll hop on a call if it's, hey, the expectations, I have 20 minutes. I got you for 20 minutes, and then I gotta go.
I have a meeting in 20 minutes, so you? Oh, nice, that's fine.
I'm trying to get everything wrapped up, so it's like straight to the point.
In regard to documents, when that is the case, is texting really that?
So what, if you have a document that needs to be signed, it's already been sent through the email, through DocuSign, then I would send like, hey, there's a document, DocuSign, this one up.
Yeah, texting that.
Are you sending your document, your TC sending that though, right? The documents through DocuSign?
Yes, but like today we had to do. This one that wasn't closing, they wanted us to do an extension for a day. Like, how stupid is that? So I text Jen and I said, hey, can you do this extension for today? She said, yeah, sure. And I said, just let me know when you send it and I'll let the buyers. So as soon as it was sent, I let the buyers know and I let the listing it. So I went, already did that, copy and send it to the listing, just really quick. And so as soon as my buyer signed it, I text Jen back and said it's signed. And then she sent it to the listing agent. So everybody knew that this important addendum needed to be signed immediately. So it just, and then the title company came back and goes, that was fast. Yeah, we need to get stuff done. So just make sure that you're communicating with everybody involved, because if I would have waited and not sent it to the listing agent, it could have taken a while. Who knows? But if we needed it that quick, then it needed to happen quickly. And then when you guys start doing this, more common, you're gonna have templates that's gonna work for you. That you get, like with mine, like I have all my stuff listed in the email to everybody, including the phone numbers, and email addresses, everything's listed in there. Just copy and paste it and put it in a new email. So when you get started in that, you're gonna pick up on things that can work for you and things that are not.
I should teach you how to do templates in Gmail. Cause you can just have a template, you don't have to copy and paste it.
I've done them, but it's habit.
Well, and if you're working a lot from your phone, I don't know if you can send the templates from your phone.
Well,
That's what we did in coaching today, was like the checklist for all this.
oh, good. Yeah, I'll have to get into that a little bit better.
But copying and pasting works just fine.
I'll have to set that up, so that's my to-do list tomorrow. Then what is your plan for following up, if you get a TC, they'll follow up for you. But follow up with the TC too, like, hey, where are we at, what do you need from me? Every single weekday, and, okay, then my TC. Where are we at, what do you guys need from me? Which direction, whatever. Anything. So we're not gonna do this, but an opportunity tab. You can follow the whole transaction in the opportunity tab.
And one benefit, we talked a lot about using the opportunity tab, opportunities section in Command today. One really big benefit of moving the people through the opportunity is it's gonna track your stats. So then you're gonna know like your average, how many days from a lead to an under contract is it taking me? How many days from under contract to closing? So it's really just good. Cause then you can business plan much better for the following year. You've got all the numbers.
Yeah.
Is there way more people involved than you guys thought in a transaction? You all knew there's a lot of people. It's not just us.
There's a lot of people, like, buyers mostly get like, okay, where are we at, what are we doing? They don't know, they don't see all the, you kind of say the odds behind the curtain. They don't see odds behind the curtain, just make sure that you let them know that, hey, that's getting worked on. Title companies working on your title, and lenders working on your documents. Getting everything approved for you, just, stay patient.
Cause really, there's so many moving parts and we're like the center of it all. Connecting everybody, like everybody's reporting to us to report back to the buyers. That's a lot of our value.
One thing that I'm gonna tell you, so you guys, will get to know a lot of title companies, a lot of title people. You technically pick them. The buyers pick them, you pick them. The lender will pick them for you if you let them. So
Is that a good thing?
it just depends if that person's gonna be a good fit for you or not.
I have, did someone from title come over yesterday, come to Ignite yesterday? Or no,
I was online, but
I didn't come to yesterday, but no, did anybody from title come over? Just Rusty was here. And Kaylee and Jesse. Sounds like no,
Yeah,
you guys are, cause you probably
was
would've went over
just-
there. So she,
Well, there was, somebody, who weren't here yesterday, I was here yesterday. Somebody was with the two that came,
oh,
and I think,
Tamara.
was she a lender?
Oh, maybe, I don't know who came yesterday.
Hmm.
So, but I like to pick the title company because I have expectations of an escrow officer that they're going to compliment me during the closing, whether I'm there or not. Like, I want them to say, Allison did a good job, look at this interest rate, and that's not me, right? That's the lender or the people bought the rate down or whatever, or she got you a good deal on this house, or she got your home warranty covered, like whatever. I want a compliment from that escrow officer to my clients at the closing table, so that's important to me. I also want one that's gonna that can has a personality that can interact with you. So there's things that I want in an escrow officer that I don't know that that's what the lender wants. And I mean, some lenders attend closing too,
Some don't.
and some don't. And sometimes I attend closing and sometimes I don't. I try to. Can't always.
I was gonna go to Michael's yesterday, but it was at my buyer's apartment. There's too many people in one spot. So I'm like, I'll see you when we get.
And that's something else. I want a title person that's going to be, that can't travel for closings.
It's important.
Cause I've closed on the hood of a car. At the hospital when he was a doctor, like my guy was a doctor. So.
Yeah, it gets interesting.
At the jail.
for a police officer.
Or a prisoner.
Selling, house.
Well, yeah, they're not typically buying a house from a
Right.
jail.
Yeah.
They're typically selling.
I'm not changing that. So communicate everything, communicate clearly and with everyone involved in the steps of the transaction. If you don't communicate, people are gonna get angry. And I think some agents communicate well and some just don't. It's nothing we can change. So just you guys communicate well. Set expectations up front, let your buyers, sellers know like what you're gonna expect them to do throughout the transaction. Whenever, like, with the seller, you're gonna tell them, you gotta keep your house clean. I know that you got 50 cats, but you gotta keep those little ones clean.
And it's crazy because every seller, every person, I feel like like clean is relative. Like I might think my house is trashed and somebody might come over and think it's super clean, or I might think it's clean and somebody might come over and think it's super trashed. Like it's just all relative to people's standards of living.
Yeah.
So sometimes we can tell a buyer to clean or a seller to clean, I mean, and they did. But it's not what our expectations are, like.
The Roy House, she does a fabulous job when she cleans. I
Yeah,
thought-
she just has so many animals, so she does. That care.com or whatever that they
Oh,
bring
like
their
rover.com or something, yeah.
So they bring her cats and dogs and she babies.
Does she still do that?
She does. So she makes good living off of it, but. I don't think I can have any cats in my house.
And how expensive she is.
I have no idea.
I don't even know how much any of that costs.
No. But make sure that you set up your expectations, like, like with her, she had all those cats, so she left them in the laundry room.
Right,
So I've made her put a sign on the door saying, there's a cat in here,
there's a few cats in
there's a
here.
few cats in there, just make sure that you don't let them out. Like, come look at it, but don't let them out. And then maintain professionalism throughout the house, throughout the transaction. You might be angry, but don't talk to anybody at that time.
Mhm.
Just take a deep breath and walk away, lock yourself in a closet, something, so that you can just put yourself together so that you can go and handle it. 'Cause, I tell this to the deaf kids all the time. Once something leaves your mouth, you can't take it back.
Right.
Whether it leaves your mouth.
I
or
have to
your
learn
fingers,
that myself.
you have to just take a deep breath, 'cause as soon as it comes out, you can take it back.
Canada does not go back into the box.
Oh,
Pandora.
all right.
Pandora
And you're right.
Pandora does not go back in.
I knew what you were saying. Where's the deal with, at risk of falling or hurt? One of the best practices, keep deals alive. Where do you feel like it's the,
So when you
Yeah,
guys look at the
exactly.
timeline in your book, where we talked about like the inspection, the finance and appraisal, there was that timeline in the book. Did you guys have that in there? When you look at that timeline, where do you guys think, or looking at any time, or any, just what you know it would be.
this one?
Looking at any, yeah, that one, where do you guys feel like the transaction could fall apart at? Where do you, like the highest risk of it falling apart is at?
After the inspection.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I feel like that's, yeah. Anywhere else?
The due diligence deadline
Yep, the due diligence deadline.
or the financing appraisal,
Yeah, it's an improvement video.
because
So you
you
got
have to do it the rate.
Right, so you got multiple times that you can renegotiate the contract is between inspection and then the financing. Because if it doesn't appraise, then you have to go to renegotiate the. Correct. Inspection, you have to negotiate. If the sellers are gonna fix those things for the buyer, or is the buyer gonna just wait until closing? Is the seller gonna give the buyer an allowance? Or a check at closing for those things, or a credit towards closing costs? There's so many different things that can happen for the inspection. And then a financing appraisal. That's when you should have CD going out, close to that.
Can you lose it up to the final walkthrough?
Final walkthrough, is the final walkthrough here.
Oh, the top.
By your financing appraisal deadline, you'll know whether you're gonna keep that house or not. The final walkthrough really is.
If you lose it after finance and appraisal, your buyer's not getting the earnest money. And the seller could sue, cause that's your last deadline if you don't close.
It basically saying that the,
Unless you go to
Isn't
the
it-
final walkthrough and it's like
Yeah.
turned into a some other house.
but the financing and appraisal deadline, it goes past that, and the buyer backs out, basically, if your buyer can't perform. And sometimes the seller can't perform, but, anyway, just. Or earnest money, you don't wanna lose your client's money. Make sure you're aware of those dates. I go the wrong way. So yeah, those are the key ones that fall apart, and best practices to keep deals alive.
Keeping in touch.
Yeah,
Communication. Communication is key. Sometimes we have to, deliver bad news, and that's just. Those are the territory. But you gotta communicate. Always identify its best interest, even when it seems to be a conflict with your own. Yeah, you're there for your client, so like if an agent calls you and like. Feel like talking crap, just don't. Just don't. Just remember that. I can never say this right, the YW,
Y4C2Ts.
in my brain, it doesn't go the right way. So
I got why, it's W.
It's WI.
Oh, why? I got it. Oh my goodness,
I used to have it memorized,
what's that mean?
it's the killer thing.
No, Henry?
It's our notation. Okay, win-win or no deal. Integrity to do the right thing. Customers always come first. Commitment in all things. The 4 Cs, commitment in all things, communication, seek first to understand. Creativity, ideas before results. It should be in your book, but
Yeah.
or I can email this.
I have it on my phone.
Teamwork, together, everyone achieves more. Trust starts with honesty. Equity is opportunities for all. And success results through people. That's our.
Last 2 minutes. Referrals and reviews. Take advantage of all opportunities, and also, every time we close a deal, ask for a referral. The good else, you know, that would like to find so out. They'll hold. I found that if you say help, people have a different reaction than home.
Mhm.
If you say, who else do you know, and find your son of home. Because
What kind of, what kind of reaction do you receive?
home is personal house. Anytime that you're referring to real estate, say home rather than. It's the feelers. It catches you in the feelers. So always ask, if you can on your email, put it at the bottom. Who else is, who else, do you know, is looking to buy or sell?
Can you signature?
That's what I meant to say, signature.
That's pretty smart idea. I don't have my signature to say.
It should. I bet you could set up a template.
I
on
bet
your
you
Google.
could.
Hey, who else
And
do you
that,
know?
who else, you know, that wants
There's
to
a
buy or
form for
sell?
that.
Yeah.
For every conversation and throughout the transaction, just keep talking to your buyers and sellers. And say, like, this is how I make my living. Who else do you know that's looking or will be looking to buy or sell home in the near future? it's kind of awkward at first, but once you start asking, it's good. And then also it told me on the transaction, hey, what is supposed to have? You mentioned before that your friend Sally might be looking, I've talked to her, can I call her?
Do you know, when people are buying and selling a house, they're talking to everybody else about their buying and selling a house because they're so excited about it. So that's why we gotta ask for referrals clear throughout the transaction, I think. Because they're talking to so many people about it already. So they're gonna have, they're the hottest source of referrals when they're actively in a transaction. Oh,
You want more on us?
yeah,
Post follow up.
so have a smart plan.
Yep, have a smart
There's
plan.
tons of them and you
Make
can
sure that you add your buyer seller to your command so that you can add them to the smart plan. I've seen people like close deals and they don't have money in there. Always. If you've gotten to know the client for, let's say, 30 days, 40 days. During that process. Ask them during that time, hey. I saw that you like Starbucks, what do you like at Starbucks? Or just start asking those questions, then you can add them to your command, like, so that you know, like, if there's a birthday, I'm going on a $5 gift card to Starbucks. $5 goes a long way. And everybody like to feel special on their birthday.
I hate my birthday.
What is that?
Me too. It's not covered.
Is
I
it-
used to love
is
it.
it Halloween.
No, it's just every year I get older.
So I'm gonna tell you my secret.
You got moon.
So I'm 29 and holding. For the rest of my life.
I was 47 and holding for a couple of years.
Yeah. I don't, well, and we kind of tease about it, because I used to say this is my 13th annual 29th birthday. So does it get older than that? 29. My aunt every year gives me a birthday card that says happy 29th birthday.
I personally, I think it's just a big waste of time. Yeah, it was fun when you were younger, you did things, But now it's pointless. That's how I see it personally.
Some people are like that, some people don't like it, but
I spent 2 hours adding all into all my SOI and commands, so I'm sending birthday cards.
good.
I'm like, I did not spend 2 hours of my life.
Did you set them up on the birthday smart plan? It's so good. That birthday smart plan is so good.
Kind of tells you a couple days in advance.
It tells you just a couple days in advance to send the card or the gift. It sends you to post on socials or to
Yes.
comment on their social. It's a really good smart plan.
So smart plans, there's a smart plan for that.
There is
Okay.
too.
Build
You
your
get lost
business
in it.
online with co-agent relationships. Co-agent follow-ups, this could be the other agent from the other side. Send them something. You know how many people like. Agents will send a card, with thank you for the transaction, whatever. It just builds those relationships, because you want that to be a positive relationship going forward, so that they remember you on other transactions. So that when they get done with that transaction, they're like, oh yeah, we did this transaction, or you put an offer in for your buyer. They know how you're gonna act during the transaction, so they'll tell their sellers, hey, I worked with this agent before. They were really great, or they were really not great. So it helps to send a little follow-up text or a card or something, just a little something, they thank you for working with each other, because we have to work with each other.
So you say that like send a little thank you card to the agent too. The listing or the buying without the agent. I've never done that.
Well, so sometimes if I know that they're in an office, I ask them, do you go to the office very much? I'll send them like, especially if you're on a kind of good transaction.
I always. What? To leave me a review.
Oh,
And any vendors.
We have to work together.
So you could like call their title person and ask her. Oh, that's such. And I've been asking for all these community reviews and I've got 4. And it's hard to get. Like, come on, people, just do it.
So. Okay, let's say you have 10 transactions. Text every single one of them, you're gonna do this tonight, I know you're. You get 10 people that you wanna leave a review for you, so you text them and say, hey, just let me know, then they give a $10 gift card to Starbucks to anybody. Like, I'm gonna do a raffle for $10 gift card to Starbucks.
Get $10 gift card each one. I don't care if it's worth
You
it.
can do that, but tell them that you're doing it as a raffle, or, hey, if you do a Google review for me, I'll give you $10 gift card to Starbucks.
Well, and also tell them how much it actually helps your business, because I think sometimes they're more willing to help your business, and then they might say, "Don't need to send me a gift card. I just want to help you."
Yeah.
Too.
I want to give them a gift card.
Use that.
I think about you when they go to buy coffee or something.
Right, exactly.
But that's a good idea. I never thought of that.
It helps. I think it's that. With home, what's in it for me? Like, hey, I'll give you a $5, $10 gift card to Starbucks. For a minute, I was doing like gift cards to gas. They're like, oh yeah, $10 for gas, great.
They're like, "One minute." No, just kidding.
Basically, that's.
Did you guys feel like you learned stuff in this class too about the process, the what it looks like? Once you're in the process, that's basically.
Yep.
Perfect, and then the daily success system.
There you go.
So if you guys do those things every day, they do lead to closings.
Are those in here?
Those at the end of every one.
Anyway, there's for them, they.
BTC
Yeah, but
compliant.
don't tell people that are on the. Yeah, all that.
Yeah.
People don't.
How do you find and do that?
You can, how do you find people not, that are on, that are,
Like, where do I go to check?
so the
if I'm-
title company, well, so you can go to like do not call.com, I think it is.
Oh, okay.
So, or do not call.com. The title company will give you scrub lists, so. They'll give you scrub lists, so they're scrubbed to not, so they've been checked to give us the do not call.
Okay. If you. Oh, I know. Do not call DACA or orders and
Something, yeah.
okay.